Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to today's joint webinar, proudly brought to you by Mphasis and Microsoft. My name is Mariana, and I will be your host for this session. We are excited to have you join us today for Achieve More with AI, Realize Return on Investment, and Transform with Microsoft Copilot and Agents. In this session, we will explore how AI-powered solutions like Microsoft Copilot and intelligent agents are helping organizations unlock productivity, deliver measurable return on investment, and transform business operations. We have a fantastic panel of experts with us today. Mohit Sachdeva, Microsoft Practice Lead at Mphasis, Rajat Sharma, Microsoft Copilot Lead at Mphasis, and Matt Arnold, Senior Technical Specialist, Business Applications Microsoft. Over the next 60 minutes, our panelists will share practical insights, discuss real-world case studies, and demonstrate how you can get the most out of our Microsoft Copilot and agents within your organization. Please feel free to submit your questions in the questions and answers panel at any time during the session. We will address as many as we can at the end during our dedicated questions and answers segment. Thank you again for joining us today on behalf of both Mphasis and Microsoft. Let's get started.
Thank you, Marianne. Thanks for that. Welcome, everyone, and thanks for joining the webinar today. Very quickly, a brief agenda for today. We'll do quick introductions of our team, the speakers, a brief introduction about who are Mphasis, and then we will talk about how AI can deliver business values. We will then quickly pivot towards showing what the agents are. Matt Arnold from Microsoft would actually show us those. And we've got some exciting demos of agents as well, autonomous agents who are able to show you some use cases from both D365 world across ERP and CRM. So quick introduction. So let's start with Matt. Matt?
Yeah, afternoon, everyone. Matt Arnold, I've been at Microsoft for the last 3.5 years, part of our business applications team at Microsoft, and work with a whole host of different companies across multiple different industries on Copilot and different agents. So great to meet you all.
Thank you, Matt. Myself, I'm Mohit Sachdeva. I'm the Microsoft sales lead at Mphasis, and I've got experience within the Microsoft business applications world over the past 20 years. So really excited in this new world of Copilot and AI and how we can help our customers. Rajat.
Good afternoon. I'm Rajat Sharma. I'm leading the Copilot practice here at Mphasis UK. Also a solutions architect for Power Platform and Dynamics 365. And looking forward to speak to you all today. Thank you.
Thank you, Rajat. So a very quick overview on who are Mphasis. If you've not heard about us before, just a very quick, brief introduction. So Mphasis, we are a global organization listed out of the India Stock Exchange with an overall global revenue of about nearly $2 billion. We are backed by Blackstone private equity firm. They still own a significant amount of stake in the organization, and we're one of the largest tech investments in the tech world. Now, Mphasis as an organization, we've grown over the past decades, but where we've really made some strategic investments are in the over the last 4 or 5 years, where we pivoted ourselves to become a more customer experience, data and AI-led company. So with our acquisitions of Datalytics in 2020, the acquisition of Blinks and eBEX and Mphasis.ai. And the whole idea is to create a proposition where we are able to define a strategy, deliver that strategy using our technical capability, and at the end, sort of lead with AI as well. With a global presence, the uniqueness we provide is we are big enough to matter in the in terms of organization, but we are small. We're small enough to care. So you get that access to the right individuals very, very quickly. From a Microsoft practice strength in numbers, we are a global, as mentioned, being a global organization, we have accreditation across all the 6 Microsoft pillars, with the workforce which is spread across the globe. The key things to sort of focus on, we are the Jumpstart partner for M36 Copilot. So we've been leading with Microsoft on the Copilot forefront, with Rajat from our team working very closely with the product group and this webinar as well. And I think what we really bring to the table is that our experience of delivering these Copilot and Copilot related use cases for different businesses across industries, and ability to share that experience with you, with everyone today. So how can AI deliver business value? And one thing I want to sort of touch upon is, there's been a lot of buzzword around. Sorry, just 1 second. Yes, so there's been a lot of buzzword around generative AI and Copilot. Everyone's talking about agents and everything, but what we're really seeing is that the hype is not just a hype. Organizations are putting all this to an action. We've actually seen likes of big banks like JP Morgan, who are able to sort of automate all their fraud detection, like some, and were able to sort of automate their supply chains. And we're also seeing not just within the banking and financial services, but even in healthcare, retail, and public sector, a lot where the AI is being used to sort of add value to the more manual task on day-to-day basis. However, one of the key things, where there's a massive potential for generative AI, but where we're seeing is that organizations today are skeptical about how to approach this agentic AI from a starting point of view. We're seeing a lot of sentiment across CIOs that we've run enough pilots. We don't want another POC. We just, summarization of email or creating a draft email or what's my Outlook summary will not give you the right business benefits. What they really want to see is to be able to, how do I get onto this journey and able to deliver right business benefits and drive that justification of cost. So how it will help me to mitigate risk, or it will help me drive my top line or reduce cost optimization. And I think that's where we come in. So sort of we've been working around sort of helping them. How do you convince them from a budget perspective? The other concerns which we're seeing across CIOs is around the technical and data readiness. Everyone's so much talking about the AI that people are still worried that have they got their house in order in terms of, is their data ready to be leveraged by Copilot? If they've got collection of structured data, non-structured data, and data from external sources. At the same time, they want to ensure that the right security and compliance is in place. From a risk of GDPR, we've recently seen a lot of cyber attacks happening within the UK across big retailers like. So those kind of things sort of drive a right fear into the organizations of adopting newer technologies as well. And then looking at how do we integrate and drive this forward? How do we scale these solutions to deliver value at large? And then any of these solutions, when they come across, one of the key challenges are user adoption and change. How do we drive that forward to sort of get that buy-in, not just from top down, but from bottom up as well? So this is something which has come out of one of our customers, where we've actually successfully rolled out multiple AI projects from a knowledge management perspective, a deep knowledge management for their teams, for teams to be able to search internally, some of the agents to drive importing documents. And the way we started was we begin with them with a maturity assessment. Now, as an enterprise, you might have done a couple of these steps already. You might have already done how mature you are. what your ROI would be, or you probably at step 3 where you've already identified, you've done the governance framework or partway through it. But that's the kind of structure we kind of go through, where we basically begin with an AI assessment, and then we basically work with you to define a measurable or a return on investment across any initiatives. Then we really want to ensure that we've got the right enablers, whether it's data, people, or the platform sort of available. And then we want to identify the use cases where the business could justify those use cases. So it's not just about us coming in and working with you and saying this will add value to your business. Where we look at it from that perspective is we actually ask you that how will this add value to your business, and sort of understand from you that how you think AI would actually benefit the use case, or at the same time sort of helping you. So that's the kind of approach we take to sort of help you adopt those Copilot and agents and able to deliver that. What I would do now is I'll pass it over to Matt, who will walk us through the Microsoft Copilot agents. Matt, over to you.
Thanks very much, Rohit. If you can move on to the next slide. So hopefully all of you now are familiar with the terms co-pilots and agents by now. So at Microsoft, we believe that every employee will have a co-pilot, and co-pilot's going to work as like your personal assistant. It's going to be grounded in the work and content like emails, meetings, and documents. So think of Copilot being aligned to you as an individual or an employee. Now, wait, you may access Copilot from multiple different locations, but it's still only one Copilot. We also believe that every business process will be transformed by these different agents. So this won't be a one-to-one alignment. Agents will come in all different levels of complexity. They will orchestrate and work together to transform business process or processes. And agents can come from many different sources. You could build a custom agent yourself. Microsoft partners are building agents. Microsoft are shipping agents with our different products like M365 and Dynamics 365. If you go through to the next slide, please, Rohit. What we then see is that Copilot is becoming that organization layer for humans to interact with all these different types of agents. In effect, it's becoming the UI for AI. So the human or the person on the left-hand side is coming into Copilot. We have Copilot Studio where you can build all these different, was one of the solutions where you can build all these different agents, and then it will orchestrate which agents to use and when to use it based on the prompts or the conversation that you're having through Copilot. And so for the next session, we're going to zoom into a bit more on agents. Let me go to the next slide, please, Rohit. So agents can exist on a spectrum. Different organizations are at different stages, as Rohit was just already mentioned, on your AI transformation. Some are more advanced. Some are building the next gen agents with autonomous capabilities. Others are still building out AI agents to focus on things like retrieval or task experiences, bringing their own knowledge, their own automations into those agent experiences. So these are not official descriptions of how technical names for your agents. They're just used to describe the capabilities that your agents may possess. And all agents have the same set of components. Which one of these you use is all down to how the maker and the use case and the complexity that will dictate which parts of it needs to use as part of that. So we look at retrieval, it's designed to do that, specific instructions on how to behave, their personality, their overall objectives, and they follow predefined rules and guidelines set by who creates them. We've then got task-based, which is like connected to specific workflows or processes. They operate based on things like knowledge, skills, rules-based automation, and their primary purpose is to automate repetitive tasks. And then we get to the autonomous part, which is they operate independently, they dynamically plan, they learn from your existing processes, and they adapt to changing conditions and make decisions without any of your constant human intervention. And again, one agent can have a mixture of all three of these. If you go to the next slide, please. And if we look at this, the reality is that agents are going to change every function of every process across all of your organization. In fact, IDC are projecting there's going to be over 1 billion new business processes that are run by agents that are going to be created over the next 4 years. If you go to the next slide, this is going to take all different shapes and sizes. And in fact, we have to broaden our mindsets in terms of the types of solutions that these agents will solve. Today, we're thinking about agents often as what are the existing problems that I can further optimize? But as we move into the future, you're also going to have to think about, start seeing it as end user led innovation, where people are solving localized small business processes with agents and making them much more faster and iterative. You're also going to see lots of organizational wide transformation, new technology applied to new problems that fundamentally change how your business grows. Now, this is basically how we think about agent development will mature. And if IDC's expectation of these billion agents is to come true over the next 4 years, we aren't sure to say which one comes after the other, but that a billion agents is a lot of agents, and they're going to come from all different kinds of places. Now, if we go on to the next slide and have a look at a couple of the agents our customers have already started building, if we look at Virgin Money, they've built out Ready, which is on their mobile app, and the customers can come in and self-serve, ask questions about their bank account, get information about transactions that have just happened, and they're seeing today a 70% containment rate of engaged conversation. They're second on what they call their highest smile score. Smile score is a bit like your customer satisfaction score, and it's only 1 point below what the face-to-face experiences they get. And normally face-to-face is always the highest in terms of satisfaction scores, but this has been only 1 point behind that. And it's won an award already for the best application of AI in financial services. And you can see there from what Adam has said around what it's done for them as their business. And if you go to the next slide, I'm going to play you a quick video of have done of how they take an intake from an existing process. It used to take up to 20 days, and they've got it down to 2. But let's run the video and you can see what they do. You're on mute, Mohit. You might need to come off mute.
McKinsey & Company, one of the largest global management consultancies, is piloting a client service agent with these new Copilot Studio capabilities. Say a prospective sends an email requesting an engagement. As soon as the email is received, the agent gets to work extracting the relevant details. It then follows a series of steps, including verifying any previous engagements with this customer, validating the industry sector, summarizing the client needs, and identifying the appropriate expert to meet with the client. It then writes and sends an email to the selected expert with the relevant client details, the agent effectively reasoning over the situation to come to a resolution. It's been given operational guidelines in Copilot Studio, and it can think and act within those guardrails to get the job done. Now let's go behind the scenes to see how the agent was built. It started in Copilot Studio with simple instructions outlining the job it needs to perform. In this case, the agent's tasked with fielding all incoming engagement requests from the clients. That means it monitors inbound requests, identifies the right partner to meet with the customer, and sends an email to finalize the details. The agent has clear triggers, which allow it to work autonomously. It's on 24/7, looking for those triggers. In this case, it's looking for an email, but it could also be triggered by events from a wide range of sources, including line of business applications. The agent has a knowledge base, enabling it to tap into both your productivity data, leveraging the Microsoft Graph, and your line of business systems across knowledge sources like SAP, ServiceNow, and Fabric. Finally, the agent has clearly defined actions it can take to get work done, and you can add new actions from over 1,500 data connectors. Based on the specifics of each incoming request, the agent identifies and executes the most appropriate actions for the situation. If you want to see what the agent is working on, you can go to the Activity tab. You just saw how the agent managed one engagement, but this agent is actively managing dozens of inbound requests from many different clients, all at the same time. You can see its performance at the top, or delve deeper in the Analytics tab. There are some instances when the agent knows it needs to escalate to a human. Let's take a look at one of those. We can see the steps the agent already completed, but then it got stuck. Let's dig deeper to see what happened. It looks like it couldn't find the partner, as he is no longer at the company. This triggered a flow where the agent needed to escalate to a human. Let's jump to BizChat, where we can see the notification from the agent. Copilot presents all relevant information from the manager to verify. The manager decides to manually reassign the engagement to someone else on the team. Now the agent can continue to work, processing the final details and sending an email to the right people. In piloting this agent, McKinsey & Company found lead time could be reduced by 90% and administrative work reduced by 30%. That was just one example of an agent being piloted, Soon, we anticipate every organization will have a constellation of agents that support individual employees, teams, and functions to orchestrate business processes. Copilot Studio will be where you build these agents, and Copilot will be where you interact with them. With Copilot Studio, every customer has the power to build their own custom autonomous agents.
If you go to the next slide, Rohit.
Copilot Studio.
Sorry, there's another one.
That's it. Go to the next slide.
With Copilot Studio, customers now have the power to build
Next slide,
autonomous
please.
agents.
So sorry, do 1 second, but yeah, okay, sorry.
So, as we said, to reiterate, these agents can sit across that whole spectrum we said before, from retrieval all the way to autonomous. And these are some examples of other customers and other use cases and where they would sit, all the way from PayPal building out a simple IT and HR support agent to help employees reduce costs and workloads to answer simple questions for them. Pets at home doing fraud detection and agents autonomously flagging suspicious activity, or Fujitsu helping sellers prioritize customer leads and craft personalized proposals. And Rajat's going to show you another example similar to that later on. If you go to the next slide, please, Rohit. We'll also see here that as well is that those agents can come from multiple different places. We've got first-party agents that Microsoft are building. We've got third-party agents that our partners are building. And if you click on one more time, Rohit, we've got all different sets of different custom agents that you can build yourselves as well, all of in here. If you go to the next slide, and so the good news for everyone is that, go one more slide, please. The good news is that Microsoft has that best platform for these agents, and it's because of that the following is true across all of our agent building tools. We have our company data secure, governed and managed. We have connectors to all of your different systems that you will need, and you can build your own connectors if not. We have the latest technology in terms of models and orchestration. We have the most seamless integration into the UI for AI, which is Copilot. And most importantly, we have the best and broadest tool set for building your agents. And if we have a look at these different the tool sets that we've got, if you go on to the last slide, please, Rohit. Only Microsoft can enable you to build your agents in the way that you want to build them. You saw there in the video that McKinsey had done it in Copilot Studio. They're going to transform all your business processes from all of these different functions, some of which are led by users, some of which are led by your organizations. It's going to require you to have choice in how you want to build them. And Microsoft is uniquely positioned with the tools across the spectrum to power your technically skilled developers, from GitHub and Visual Studio, to non-technically skilled users to build agents and build them fast. And all of those different capabilities can all work together as well. So hopefully you've seen how Copilot and agents are going to hopefully transform the way that your employees and your organization is going to work, grow, and change your business. Now I'll pass you over to Rajat to show you through some more use cases.
Over to you, Rajat.
Thanks, Mark. Let me share my screen. Can you see my screen now?
Yes, we can.
Okay, so today we have a couple of demos for you in two different areas. First one is the finance, and the second one within the sales area. So the first one is an invoice to account payable, an agentic automation. We have an autonomous agent that runs in the background. Trigger is an incoming email that contains an invoice. Also, it could be a PDF, it could be an email, it could be an email with PDF, it could be an email with a handwritten note. That does not matter. The Copilot could read the data, extract the data, and it can then create the invoice details into the ERP system, and can also attach the PDF into the ERP system. Optionally, if required, it can also help validate it against a purchase order and post the invoice into the ERP. Now, if you look at the KPIs, it'll improve the processing time for such an interaction, because if you take a manual example, a manual effort would take almost around 10 minutes to input an invoice. And let's say if you are receiving around 1,000 invoices per month, that'll take you around 250 hours. So that's a saving of that time. Also, it'll help you improve the error rate, because if you're doing it manually, and if an error has been made in inputting the amount or date or invoice number, it has to be corrected. And what is the value that you get from here? You get time savings, which translates into cost savings. And also you get, when the time is saved, the people who are doing this manual work can allocate their time into building the vendor relationships. So these are some of the value benefits that you can get from such agentic transformation. So without much ado, let's get into the demo. So this is our agent, which is created using the Copilot Studio. And as the name suggests, it's a finance assistant. It is to assist the people in finance. So let's see an example of an incoming email invoice. So this is an invoice which is attached as a PDF. As I said, it could be any format. It can still be read by the Copilot. And this is the email body. So right now, as a vendor, I am sending this email invoice to another business. So let me do that. Let me send the invoice. And while it is being triggered in the background, let us see an example of a invoice which was manually created already in the ERP system. So this is my ERP system. It could be any ERP. It works across ERP. It could be Oracle, SAP, any other ERP. So let's see the manual invoice. Let me click on it and see how many details are there and what all details have to be captured. As you can see, this is for a vendor called Landay Packaging, and you can see the details here. Look at the details that has to be captured. Has so many dates, due date, item number, item name, how many quantities, what was the unit price, what is the net amount, etc., etc. So many details. You can scroll to the right and see lots and lots of details have to be captured. Again, if there is a PDF to be attached, that has to be attached manually. So that's another action that has to be done manually. But let's get back to our email and see if the email has been received. So let's go to the inbox and see. So you can see that the email is there. It says the invoice, resend the invoice. And let's open up that email and see the invoice and the PDF which was attached to the invoice. It takes a bit of time. So you can see that the PDF is attached to the incoming email, and the PDF preview, it is loading on your left. It's for another vendor called Fabricam Electronics. That's an example. And you can again see the PDF has a lot many details that needs to be entered into the ERP system to translate into an account payable invoice. So let's see how the agent works in the background as an assistant and help us get this into the ERP. So you can see this agent, it will extract data from the invoice, from the PDF. It will also validate whether the vendor exists or not. If the vendor exists, it will create the invoice. If the vendor does not exist, it will send a message to a Teams channel where the finance team can pick it up and create the vendor. And once the vendor is created by the finance team, the autonomous agent runs 24/7, as Matt said, and then it will pick up the invoice again and create the invoice. It will pick up the email again and create the invoice on the ERP. So now let's get back to the ERP system and check whether our invoice has been created. Let's refresh the system here and see. You can see the second invoice, which is for the Fabricam Electronics. Let's go into it and see whether all details have been captured or not. You can see on the right-hand side that all the vendor invoice details have been captured here successfully. This is all translated, extracted by the agent, and it has all been, the record is created by the agent. The agent has also attached the PDF invoice to the record, which you can see here. So all the details from email is transported to ERP. Back to the email, you can see the same PDF attached there and the same PDF attached there as well. Now, as you see that we can see what the agent did in the background. So if I go to the activity tab, I can see what actions the agent took. So there is a complete visibility of what the agent is doing. So let me click on the agent details or the run, and you can see that the trigger is when an email, the incoming email is the trigger. Containing invoice, yes, it will check for the valid vendor, and if the vendor exists, it will create the invoice. But there could be another scenario where the vendor does not exist. So what should happen in such a scenario? Let us see what activities it will do in that scenario. Again, a full visibility and traceability is available for you to check what the agent is doing. Now, this is the second scenario where the vendor is not valid. It will send an email message to a Teams channel. Now, this Teams channel is a finance Teams channel where finance team can pick it up and create the vendor. We can also extend our agent to say if the vendor does not exist, then the agent should create a vendor. That could also be a add-on. But in this scenario, we said the vendor will be created manually by the finance team. Again, this vendor can be extended. New steps, this agent can be extended. New steps can be added. And if the ERP doesn't have the facility to validate and post the invoice, the agent can also do that. So that's all that this particular agent could do. We have another example for you. So this was the finance example. We have a sales example, which is for CRM. Now, this example is for a lead to quote process, which is a very sort of generic process where a lead is received. The lead could be originate on a web page form or an email, through a phone call or chat with the customer or a prospective customer. In our example, we have taken the example of an email generating a lead. So the incoming email, it creates the lead, and the Copilot agent creates the lead, and based on the content of the email, it will also qualify the lead. It will create the opportunity, it will create the contact, the relevant contact. It will also create the quote, and then it will have the quote ready for the salesperson to see, validate, and then send across. Again, the KPIs impacted here could be the close rate. So how many leads we are able to close and how many opportunities we are able to pursue, because we have the agent working in the background. So the number of leads that can be analyzed, number of opportunities that can be pursued could be significantly higher than what a team alone can do. And the value benefit could be a revenue growth, because as many opportunities we won, that will translate directly into revenue. And also time saving, because this will also save the manual time that the salesperson is spending on creating a lead, creating an opportunity, qualifying an opportunity, creating a code, etc. That can all be done by the agent in the background. So again, let's see the demo. So this is my CRM system where a lead has to be created through an incoming email. Now, typically, this will be done by the salesperson. So salesperson will go in, they'll create the lead, then they will qualify the lead, it will create an opportunity, then they will add a product, and then they will mark the opportunity as one, create an order, and then send the order details to the customer or the prospective customer. Now, this might take several hours, at least 2-3 hours for every lead. And let's see, if you're creating 100 leads a month, this will be a time saving of at least 200 to 300 hours. Okay, so now let's see what happens when a email comes in. So this is the email that has come in, and you can see from the email that the customer would like to order a laptop. So you can see the intent of the prospective customer is very clear, that they would like to order a laptop. Now, the agent will pick up this email. It will see the intent. Based on that, it will create the lead. Not only it will create the lead, but it will also qualify the lead. So you can see this is my lead record, and the topic is the laptop order. And you can see the status as qualified, because the intent of the email says that they want to order a laptop. again, as soon as it is qualified, an opportunity is created in the system. You can see that this opportunity is created and a product is also then attached with the opportunity. So the product is the laptop. It has the price of the laptop, how many quantities are required. All of it is done in the background by the agent. It has also created a code. So you can see the code. Now this is a simple code just for one item, but if it had a laptop, a monitor, a mouse, a keyboard, all of that could have been included here in the code. And you could have seen multiple products and multiple prices. So these are the details of the code. The code is created. What agent has also done is it has created a follow-up task for the salesperson to follow up with the customer. And it has also created a draft email for the salesperson to review and send. So this is the final step in the process where we would like a human verification before, let's say, a quote is sent as an email. The salesperson can go in and say, yes, this it looks correct, and then just click on send, and it will be sent. So that's the last step. And once that quote is accepted, then again the agent can be extended to create an order and process the invoice, etc., etc. So this is an example of how the agentic process can save time within a sales process. And you can see that the whole process for the agent took less than 1 minute. So where it might take 2 to 4 hours for every lead, takes only 1 minute, and then around 5 to 10 minutes from the salesperson to review their task and then send the final email. So this is how the agent, especially the autonomous agent, which are triggered by an event in the system or can be triggered manually if required, can save time and a lot of hassle to the end user, can act as a partner of the end user and as an assistant of the end user. I hope this would have given you an idea about what all agents could do, along with what Matt has explained. This is all from me today. I'll now give it back to Mohit. Mohit, shall I go to the next slide?
Yes, please. Thank you, Rajat. Thanks for those amazing demos, Matt, as well as Rajat. They were really, really insightful. So I think I also want to open the floor to questions as well. But just before I do that, I just want to cover up two key points. I think both Matt and Rajat have given us a good overview of what agents are, how Microsoft's platform is unique, and the strengths it's bringing across with an interface to interact with the from an AI perspective and sort of creating a platform where you're able to leverage an agentic AI marketplace. At the same time, build your own agents where required to sort of meet your business needs. You know, this is just a small example of what's possible in the world of agentic AI, and this will only get better as with time, as it learns on your actions, as it learns on your data. We are able to see from today's demo that how easy it is becoming to remove the manual task or repetitive task in the context of customer experience, in the context of an ERP back office. So able to automate those, how easy it is for simple decision making where there is a clear chain of authority, where there are clear examples from data. It's able to take clear decisions in terms of identifying those projects in the example to the right individuals, or in case of Roger, to be able to sort of create the invoice and send the email. And also we've been able to see that how agents can actually will loop in humans where there's no clear defined paths and not able to take a decision. And what we want to do with this is we also want to, we want to help as emphasis to for organizations to get started the right way. So as you join the webinar, we are offering a sort of free agentic AI business evaluation assessment, and that's leveraging the framework we have built, which is on top of Microsoft Catalyst framework to help you identify the high-end business cases, build a strong business case for those, and to be able to develop a clear roadmap which can sort of help you and guide you to create a POC and then take that POC to production and go get those benefits. Now, thank you for your time. And what we will do next is open the floor to questions. So I can see there are a few questions, and what I would do is I'll pick them in the order they were presented in. So I would start with in the Q&A section. There are a couple as well, and then there are a couple in the chat. So I'll go through them one. And so we'll start with a question from Mohammed Azruddin first, which is, can Copilot Studio agents be integrated into GitHub Copilot? I would sort of say yes at the high level, considering you can leverage the Azure AI Foundry to connect or the Copilot SDK to be able to do that. But Matt, do you think that's the right assumption?
Yeah, I answered the question. I just more understand a bit more about what the use case is, just to make sure I've understood the question, because I wasn't 100% clear on what the use case was on the question. So I've started for more detail on it in the chat.
Okay, thank you. I think the second question in the Q&A is from Matt Clifford. What kind of license would be required to be able to access Copilot Studio? If a new license is required, what would be the different tiers of licenses and functionality in each?
Yes, I replied to that one as well. So there's you need a Copilot Studio Author license, which is free, but you have to have that assigned to your user ID. And then Copilot Studio is done on a consumption basis, and there's a couple of different options you can do. You can do pay as you go, which you can assign to your subscription billing process, and then there is also message packs where you can buy preset of message packs that come with that. And then there is also the other option where you can build agents in M365 Copilot, where you buy M365 Copilot on a per user basis, and then you can build agents within M365, and it's included as part of that license. There's no additional licensing apart from that upfront per user per month cost.
Thank you, Matt. The next one is from Sita Kumar Krishnan. Previously in Microsoft, there were tools like AI Builder in Power Platform, in which the document analysis done by different models, trainable, pre-trained models, etc. In the new scenario, what will be the pricing licensing model when we start building agents, especially towards the volume that we process from emails, PDF, and there could be some premium API needed to connect it. So I think this is more around, will AI Builder still exist, or will the AI Builder and Copilot kind of merge in pricing? I think, Matt, these are mostly more questions towards you.
Yeah, it sounds like a really big, complicated question. The answer is all of these things are going to exist. The key part is they all work together. So it's not that it's one or the other. It could be a combination of both that you do it. So you might build out an AI builder, something an AI builder that you may give to the agent as an action for it to then decide when to use that AI builder action. So that could be processing a document. It could be extracting text. So the pricing scenario is still the same. It's more about how do you want an agent to be able to utilize that thing you've built from in AI Builder or whatever else you built out in Power Platform. I can give that to my agent as an action for it to do, and that's effectively what we saw in the McKinsey video done. And they've given it a load of what we call actions. Those could be flows. It could be AI built models you built in Power Platform. It could be APIs you've connected to backend systems. So the licensing is still the same from the consumption of that. But what you're giving there is you're giving the agent the ability to go off and do the work for you. Because that could be a self-service agent, an autonomous agent. So you no longer need the human in the loop. So it all comes down to all of these comes down to the scenario and the use case that you're looking at. But all of them will still exist. They all work natively together. It's just start with the use case first and then work back from there is the best way I would think about it, to work out what's the best way to do something rather than the technology, starting with the technology first.
Next question is from Vivek. Will we be able to connect to a third-party API and database which is hosted on premise environment using protocols such as MCP or SUCH? Also, which AI model Copilot uses when we create agents? Do we have access to models such as GPT 4.5 or Gemini 2.5 Pro?
So yes, we announced MCP. We will support MCP. I can't remember when that's on the roadmap, when it's coming live. We definitely will be supporting that. Copilot supports multiple models, so it depends on where you're building it and what you're building, and you can decide which and what to use. But yes, we support multiple models of all the ones you mentioned and more.
Perfect.
Yeah,
Thank
and
you.
to add to Matt, there is also a support for A2A protocol in case we are using Copilot agents with other agents. So that support is also there.
Thank you, Rajat. Last on the Q&A, as then we'll move to the question in the chat. Is the agent's invoice generation process same as the invoice capture feature?
Yeah, so I think this is very specific to the Dynamics F&O. So the answer is yes, it is similar. But the agent invoice, the autonomous agent for invoice capture can be used with any ERP, but all ERPs don't have such a process at the moment.
Thank you, Rajat. This is a question from Sudeepata. Question on demo 1. AP automation, there are 30 plus SaaS companies globally. Are companies preferring services calls versus product SaaS calls? So, Sudeepata, do you want to sort of explain your question in detail, if you're still there? We can come back to you. We got one from Girish. On demo 1, there seems to be no human in loop, or might be at a later stage. So how we have a measured accuracy of the agentic task, or is it 100%? I can answer that, and Matt, please add. I think Matt's shown there's a dashboard where you can sort of view the activity of the agent, and also you're able to see the accuracy on how the tasks are completed. I think there are sort of in the background, there are sort of metrics available which one can view and see the accuracy of the task and sort of look at how they're improving as well. Is that correct, Matt?
Yep. Yeah. Again, it all comes down to the use case again of what it is and what you mean by accuracy. Because if it's calling an API, the API can only return back what it asked, what it received. If it's ingesting documentation, as Rajat showed, it all depends on what it is you do. But even when you're doing the documentation, reviewing the data and scanning the data, it can still put accuracy levels in there, and you can accept and reject, have those things preset to say if it's under a certain percentage, then do not accept it. So there are fail safes we can put in as well.
Thank you. This is a question from Reshma. Hello, Reshma. With the introduction of Copilot Studio, is Microsoft signaling a strategic shift towards using customizable AI agents for processes like AP automation rather than enhancing the current out-of-the-box AP automation features in D365, which remain limited?
I think it's not there's no single one answer to that one. I think you may have heard Satya talk about in the past, where he's talking about the agents are going to change, as we said before, agents are going to change the way that we interact with applications, with data and forms. So I think it's something that will be coming. I think the adoption of it is going to be interesting to see, or how quickly the companies adopt it. But it's definitely going to change the way that, not so much in terms of how we build out our products, but allowing the customers to build out and transform while they're looking to transform their back-end platforms or systems that they need to do. So I think it's definitely going to be a trend that we're going to see more of. I think the speed at which it gets adopted is probably the more interesting point. And no one knows the answer to that one at this stage.
Thank you, Matt. And last question from Iqbal. What was the effort needed to make these agents, including integrations? So I think, Iqbal, that's use case by use case basis. So I can see the 2 agents Rajat demoed, which are in our demo environment. These were done, I think, in a couple of days. But obviously, these are not production ready. To get them hardened, etc., probably a little more time. So it is purely use case by use case basis. So I think that was the last question. And thank you, everyone. Hope you found today's session insightful, and thanks for staying us for the hour. If you have any questions or anything, please feel free to reach out to us. There would be a survey sent to you post this webinar, so If you could provide feedback, that would be really helpful. Thank you, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, all.
Thank you. Bye.